Thank you for joining the Navigating Medicare's Quality Payment Program session. Today we'll be discussing MIPS Advancing Care Information and Improvement Activities category. This is brought to you by the Physicians Advocacy Institute and Healthsperian. The Physicians Advocacy Institute mission is to better understand the challenges facing you as physicians and the patients you serve, as well as to educate policymakers about these challenges. The board of directors is listed on the screen, as you can see, and is made of CEOs that are current and former, representing state associations representing all of you. In addition, Healthsperian is a Washington, D.C. based consulting firm focused on strategic issues operating at the intersection of public policy, business strategy, operations, and government affairs. The PAI Macro Educational Series is a program of materials and resources that will provide you with an overview of concepts to help you navigate the macro program and the QPP. The macro overview is provided in addition to follow-on products that will include one-pagers and monographs focused on the topics such as the MIPS scoring system. In addition, we'll be developing additional resources. And today, I am Ray Quintero, and I'm joined by Priya Lamba, my colleague, and will be presenting the information to you. There's a list of acronyms that will help you navigate the QPP program listed on slide number 6. The acronyms will be helpful as you work through the macro program, including ACI, which we'll be discussing today, the Advancing Care Information category, as well as QPP, which is a quality payment program. What you'll be finding in this presentation is a brief overview of the merit-based incentive payment system. In addition, we'll be discussing the transition year minimum reporting options that are available to you for 2017. And we'll also go into depth on the Advancing Care Information category, as well as the Improvement Activities category. And then we'll provide information on the reporting timeline. And we'll also go into detail on next steps and looking forward to help you prepare to successfully participate in the QPP program. And we'll finally conclude by answering some commonly asked questions about the program. As an overview of the MIPS program, it's important to note who is eligible and who's required to participate. Those clinicians that are subject to the MIPS for 2017 are all physicians, so all of you. In addition to that, physician's assistants are required, nurse practitioners, clinical nurse specialists, as well as certified registered nurse anesthetists. In 2019, that list will also be expanded to include additional eligible clinicians, and that list is included on slide number 9. There are some exemptions for those physicians as well as other clinicians that are not required to participate in the MIPS program. There are 3 major categories for those exemptions. First are those that are newly enrolled physicians in the Medicare program who enrolled in Medicare for the first time during this performance year. Second are those physicians or groups of physicians that fall below a low volume threshold. And this low volume threshold requirement falls under 2 categories. One are those that have under $30,000 in Medicare Part B allowed charges, or those who provide care to 100 or fewer Medicare Part B patients. And the final category for those who are exempt are physicians who are participating in advanced alternative payment models. Based upon estimates that CMS has provided, in 2017, 32.5% of eligible physicians and other clinicians will be exempt from the MIPS program. And in order to find out whether or not you're exempt from the program, CMS is going to make available an MPI level lookup tool on its QPP website later this year to help you determine whether or not you are exempt from the program. How will you decide whether or not you're able to participate? Physicians can participate either as individuals or as groups. However, it's important to note that you must participate the same way across all 4 categories within the MIPS program, which we'll be discussing shortly. If you decide to report and participate as an individual, you would report under one NPI number as well as the tax identification number or TIN of the practice to which you reassign your benefits. If you are reporting as a group, which is defined as 2 or more physicians, which have 2 or more NPIs who are part of the same practice with the same TIN, there are specific reporting requirements and reporting options available to groups of 25 or more physicians. In addition, all physicians in the group would receive the same aggregated scoring as well as corresponding payment adjustment across that entire group. In addition, all physicians in the practice must participate the same way, either individually or as a group. So if your practice decides to participate as a group, every physician in the practice must participate in the same manner. You will not be able to participate as an individual. So for example, as you can see at the bottom of slide 11, in a practice of 10 physicians under the same TIN, the practice can elect to participate at the group level, and all 10 of you as physicians would collectively have to meet the specific requirements for each category, or you would have to decide that each of the 10 physicians would report as individual physicians. And then each physician individually would have to meet the specific requirements alone. The MIPS program, as I just mentioned, is divided into 4 categories. These 4 categories are based on the current 3 quality reporting programs in addition to 1 new program. And MACRA collapse those programs into 1, which is MIPS. The first area is quality, and that is built off of the Physician Quality Reporting System, or PQRS, which you are quite familiar with. Under PQRS, or quality, you're required to report 6 measures, which include 1 outcome measure or a specialty-specific measure set. And a primary factor of this quality reporting program known as MIPS is that 60% of your score is based on quality for the 2019 payment adjustment. The next area is cost, and that is built off of the value-based modifier. The new cost measures are being developed for 2018. No data is being reported. However, CMS is going to use administrative claims data to assess your performance. And implementation ease as costs are 0% of the score for 2019 of the payment adjustment. However, cost is going to grow as a more important percentage of your score as the QPP program moves on throughout the years. The next 2 areas are the areas that we will be focused on this session. First is advancing care information. That is built off of the Meaningful Use program, and what is intended to do is to encourage greater use of health information technology. As part of this area, you're required to report 4 or 5 measures for the base score, which we will detail shortly. And that will create 25% of your score for the 2019 payment adjustment. And this is certainly going to be a challenging area for many physicians, as we have seen in the Meaningful Use program. The final area is improvement activities, and that is the new category that CMS has created. And what this category is intended to do is to reward engagement in clinical practice improvement activities, many of which your practices are already engaged in, so this category will hopefully be an easier category to participate in. As part of it, you will be able to report any combination of a list of high and medium weight activities, approximately 90 activities that you can choose from to achieve a total of 40 points. And this will account for 15% of your score for your 2019 payment adjustment. How will you be able to report? For the category of improvement activities and advancing care information, you have different reporting options depending on if you're reporting as an individual or if you're reporting as a group. On slide number 13, it lists your opportunities as an individual. You can either report via attestation, via your qualified clinical data registry, or via a qualified registry, or through your electronic health record or EHR. If you're reporting as a group, your options are expanded slightly to include attestation, a QCDR, a qualified registry, an EHR, or a CMS web interface, and that is for groups of 25 or more eligible clinicians. How will you decide what the best option is to report amongst all of these options that are available to you between attestation, registries, EHRs, or a CMS web interface? Many of these factors are dependent upon your practice, are dependent upon you as an individual physician or as a physician group. There are many pros and cons. We have tried to lay out some of these pros and cons for you on slide number 14. However, this is not an exhaustive list, but this should help you to make determinations of how you can best report in a successful manner for the QPP program. So as you review these, compare these to how you currently practice, what is available to you, what resources you have in order to make the best decision for how you will report. And now I will hand it over to my colleague Priya to discuss your 2017 transition year reporting options.
Thank you, Ray. So in 2017, there are 4 reporting options that you have available. The first option is to not participate at all. We highly recommend that you do not go with this option, as the next several options are fairly easy to meet to avoid a negative payment adjustment of -4% in 2019. Again, the key to note is that there is a 2-year gap between 2017, the performance year, and the 2019 payment adjustment year. So what you do now will affect your 2019 Medicare Part B fee-for-service payments. Your second option is a test reporting option, which is to submit something. So if you submit a minimum amount of data, which we'll go into in the next slide, you'll be able to avoid a negative payment adjustment. You will not be able to earn a positive payment adjustment under this option, but you will avoid the -4% payment adjustment, so your payments will be neutral. So they will neither be adjusted up or down. Your third option is to do partial year submission. Your fourth is to do a full year submission. With both of these options, you have the ability to avoid a negative payment adjustment, and you are eligible for a maximum positive payment adjustment. So if you submit between 90 days to a full calendar year, you may be able to earn the maximum positive payment adjustment, and that is because it is not based off of the length of period of time for which you are reporting, but rather the quality of the data that you are reporting and how well you perform in the performance measures and scores for each of the 4 categories and across all 4 as a part of your composite MIPS score. Your options for the minimum or test participation in 2017, again, fairly low burden to avoid a negative payment adjustment going forward. You have 3 options for the 3 categories: quality, improvement activities, and advancing care information. For quality and improvement and advancing care information, as you will see, your minimum threshold is reporting 1 patient for each of the required measures. So for quality, it's 1 patient for 1 quality measure, and for advancing care information, you must report at least 1 measure for each of the required base measures, which are 4 or 5 based off of your 2014 or 2015 certified EHR technology. For ACI, the 1 patient can be the same patient across all measures, or you can report different patients for each of the 4 or 5 different measures. One thing we do recommend is that you do submit data on more than 1 patient in case there is something that happens in the reporting process. So just a type of insurance policy to make sure that you do receive credit. For the improvement activities, your minimum threshold is to report 1 improvement activity, and this can be completed through attestation. It's a fairly easy way to get credit for something you're probably already doing, as we will go forward and discuss. Again, with both the partial 90-day to full year, you can receive the maximum positive payment adjustment and avoid a negative adjustment. The MIPS Advancing Care Information category, or else known as ACI. The Advancing Care Information category, as Ray mentioned, is 25% of your MIPS final score in 2017. The total possible points you can earn for this category 155 points. And that is if you earn all the base score, the performance score, and the bonus score, bonus points for the category. However, you only need 100 points to earn full credit for this category. So if you receive 100 out of 100 or 135 out of 100 or 155 out of 100 points, your score will be 100% and you will receive the full 25% credit for this category, regardless of what your level of points you receive over the 100 threshold. Your reporting requirement: report all required base measures for the 90-day reporting period. And in addition to this, you may report up to 9 actual measures for an additional performance score, which will bump up your score. And then you have the options to use the standard or the transition measures for 2014 and 2015 edition cert. We'll get into this a little bit in the next couple of slides, but the understanding is that in 2017, some folks may have 2014 edition cert and some have 2015. So there is some flexibility in the measures that you can report there. The reporting mechanisms are listed there, which we have covered: attestation, QCR, qualified registry, HR, or CMS web interface, depending on your group size. So your scoring breakdown: your base score, which is worth 50 points of your total score, is required in order for the ACI category to be scored at all. So these are 4 or 5 yes, no, or numerator denominator measures. And what that means is you either report yes or no for the measure, or you report the numerator and denominator for the number of patients that meet that measure. So regardless of what your overall score is, if it's 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 10, you would receive credit as long as you report some data there. All required base measures must be reported to earn any credit. So if you don't report the base score, but you decide to do some performance score, that will not count and you will receive a 0. CMS has said that they require reporting of the base score before even getting to the performance score measures. So within the performance score, these are additional measures that you can report. So once you have your 50 points from the base score, you can report 7 or 9. Again, this is based on your addition of cert. And each performance measure is worth 10 to 20 points. And the number of points you receive for each measure would be determined by your performance rate for each measure. So it depends on how well you perform in those measures. You don't have to report all the additional measures that are available. Any measures that you report in addition to the base will increase your overall ACI score. And then a third option to help bump up your score in the ACI category is the bonus points. And the bonus points can be earned for reporting 1 or more of the following public health and clinical data registry reporting measures. And you can also receive 10 points for reporting certain improvement activities using CERT. So, and now we have the ACI measures and objectives. These are for 2015 certified EHR technology. Here, what you see are some measures that are required for the base. So these would be the e-prescribing, provide patient access, request to accept a summary of care, security risk analysis, and send a summary of care. So these are the measures that you must report in order to receive any credit, and whatever you report will get you the 50 points necessary for the base score. And these measures, if they are numerator denominator, you only need to have at least 1 in the numerator to receive the credit. Now, for the performance score, you have the option to report all these additional measures, such as the data registry reporting, electronic case reporting, patient-generated health data. So you don't have to report all these alternative measures listed here, but the required, whatever measures you do select to report, let's say you select 2 additional measures, your scores in those will then be added to your base score of 50 points and will be calculated as part of your total ACI category. And then we have the bonus category. So these are the measures that you can receive bonus points for. Yeah, the 2017 ACI transition measures and objectives, and these are for those with the 2014 or a combination of 2014 and 2015 edition cert. Again, the base measures are highlighted and all the other measures are optional, and the bonus measures are highlighted here as well. A key thing to note is that CMS has said for 2017, you can mix and match essentially these as long as you are reporting the base measures. The additional performance score measures can kind of be a hybrid of the two that we have just covered, the 2017 measures and objectives and 2017 ACI transition measures and objectives. These are two separate groups that we have split into these two slides. The exact specifications for these are available on the CMS website, on their CMS QPP website. They have listed out what is exactly required. We have also some additional information on the base measures on the PAI QPP website for what the reporting requirements are there. Again, another option in addition to reporting the measures for bonus points is reporting improvement activities using your certified EHR technology to earn a bonus. So the high weight activities that you can report through your EHR that you would receive credit for are listed here. There's only 3. And then you have a whole list of medium weight improvement activities that you can report through your cert to receive bonus points. Again, when you report these activities, the improvement activities, you would receive credit for the improvement activity category. So you satisfied that. And then additionally, if you report them using your certified EHR technology, you would receive bonus points. So you kind of have an incentive to do a 2-for-1 here and enhance your overall score in MIPS and then the score within the ACI category and the improvement activities category. Again, details on these are already available on the CMS website, and we have some additional that will be made available on the PAI QPP website. There are some who are exempt from reporting the ACI category. So the ACI category can be reweighted to 0% of the final score in some cases. So as we mentioned, currently the scoring structure is such that the ACI category is 25% of your overall score. The improvement activities is 15% of your score, and quality is 60% of your score. However, if you submit an application for a hardship, you can have it reweighted to 0, and that 25% would be assigned to your quality performance category. Or some physicians automatically qualify for the reweighting to 0. So for them, the ACI, there would be no requirement to submit an hardship application. CMS would automatically reweight the ACI to the quality category in those cases. So here we have listed the hardship exemptions that can be applied for, and the applications will be made available later this year on the CMS QPP website. They're currently not available as of April 2017. And then the following physicians qualify for automatic reweighting, and these are hospital-based eligible physicians, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, clinical nurse specialists, certified registered nurse anesthetist, and physicians who lack face-to-face interaction with patients or non-patient-facing physicians. So what the overall scoring would then look like if this category is reweighted would then be that your MIP score for 2017 and the 2019 payment adjustment would be 85% of your quality performance, so how well you did in the quality category, and the remainder 15% would be based off of your improvement activities category, and the ACI category and the cost categories would be 0 for the 2017 performance year and the 2019 payment adjustment year. I will now hand it back over to Ray to talk about the MIPS improvement category.
Thank you, Priya. The final category is improvement activities. And again, this will constitute 15% of your MIPS final score for 2017. The total possible points are 40. And again, this is a new category, so this was not shaped after any previous program. And it's based upon a menu of different high weight as well as medium weight activities that you can choose from, many of which you are already performing in your practice. Those high weight activities are weighted at 20 points each, and medium weight are at 10 points each. You have a 90-day reporting period required as part of this. And the reporting mechanisms, again, available to you are attestation, QCDRs, qualified registries, EHRs, or if you're a group of 25 or more eligible clinicians, you also have the CMS web interface available to you. How is this category scored? On slide number 28, any combination of high and medium weight activities equaling at least 40 points. So for example, 2 high weight activities, which would equal 20 points each, total 40 points. Or 4 medium weight activities at 10 points each would total 40 points. Or 2 medium weight activities and 1 high weight activity is calculated below. 2 times 10 plus 1 times 20 equals 40 points. Any of those combinations will get you a total of 40 points. And using certified EHR will report a clinical practice improvement activity can also earn you bonus points toward the ACI category score. Improvement activities category scoring for small, rural, health professional shortage area, as well as non-patient facing practices is also 15% of your MIPS final score, and you will still have a total possible of 40 points. Eligibility for this is based on if you are a solo physician, and you have to be a group with 15 or fewer physicians or other eligible clinicians. Physicians in rural or health professional shortage areas or HPSAs, as well as non-patient facing physicians. And the reporting is alternative scoring weights. High weight activities in this category are worth 40 points each, and medium weight activities are worth 20 points each. And you still have a 90-day reporting period. And the reporting mechanisms remain the same, with the exception of the fact that the CMS web interface is not available to you since you are not a group of 25 or more eligible clinicians. The scoring on this is, again, still a combination of high as well as medium weight activities totaling at least 40 points. But again, the weight of those activities is different for you as small, rural, HPSA, or non-patient facing practices. So for example, 2 medium weight activities at 20 points each would give you the 40 points necessary, or just 1 high weight activity at 40 points would give you the 40 points necessary. And using certified EHR to report can also earn you bonus points toward your ACI score. The MIPS improvement activities. Again, you can select from a total of 92 clinical practice improvement activities. And those activities are listed in the CMS search tool, which is available on their QPP website, which is listed on slide number 31. Under that website, there are subcategories, and under each subcategory, which you can see on this list, we have provided some sample activities. For example, under care coordination, a sample activity would be care transition documentation practice improvements. Another example would be population management, engagement of community, and health status improvement. One note to consider is that you're not required to perform activities in each of the subcategories in order to receive the highest possible score. You do have flexibility to choose which of these categories, or subcategories I should say, you participate in, as long as you are choosing from the selection of high and medium weight activities. And these are things that you're probably already doing in your practice, and so therefore this is probably the easiest category for you across the MIPS program. The timeline for performance in 2017 is very important to keep in mind, considering performance began back in January on the 1st. CMS published the 2017 qualified registries as well as QCDRs. The registration deadline for CMS web interface as well as CAPS. And as you continue down the timeline for 2017, some important timeline deadlines to keep in mind for your own performance are listed on the timeline. One very important timeline to keep in mind is the end of the performance period comes on October 2nd of 2017. And now we'll talk about next steps and looking forward. And
Thanks, Ray. Next steps. Should I select the MIPS pathway? So the first thing to determine is whether you are exempt from MIPS participation. And this will be established by the three categories that Ray mentioned earlier. If you're a newly qualified physician, you will be exempt. As newly Medicare enrolled physician, you will be exempt. If you are participating in an advanced APM, you are exempt as well. And then the more difficult one is based off of your low volume threshold. And for this, CMS is looking to put out a lookup tool for physicians to look up their NPIs and determine if they're exempt from the program. This tool will be made available on CMS's QPP website once they have finalized that. So if you aren't exempt, you will then want to pick your quality reporting pace for 2017 by evaluating your practice readiness and seeing what is appropriate for your practice. Maybe you can only do the test option, but if you are able to do at least the 90 days reporting option and becoming eligible to receive a positive payment adjustment, that is recommended, as well as reporting up until the full year. This will allow you to get more comfortable with the program going forward and adapt the program better and improve your score in the next years. The next thing is then selecting the best reporting mechanism by evaluating your practice resources. Is there a QCDR available, which could be specific to your specialty? You may want to consider whether you have access to an EHR, something that you may want to bring on board to meet the ACI category of requirements. And then also thinking through what new processes and workflows need to be put in place to meet the reporting requirements to make your practice work just as efficiently as it is now while still meeting the MIPS requirements. And lastly, you may want to consider whether an advanced APM option is feasible before making the final decision. There's still time to make those determinations for 2018 participation year and seeing what is available in your geographic area in your practice area. What if you are already participating in advanced APM? So the first thing to note here is making sure that it is an advanced APM and not just an APM. There are some APMs out there, alternative payment models that do not qualify for the advanced APM track for 2017. An example is IAH and Medicare Shared Savings Program Track 1 and the BCBI stuff. Those APMs are not considered advanced APMs under this program. But CMS will make 3 evaluations in 2017. If you are participating in advanced APM, we have another session that covers this in a tutorial where we list out the 2017 and 2018 advanced APMs available. So in these 3 determination periods, if you are on the participation list, you are exempt from MIPS reporting. So keep an eye out for these. They have what they call QP and PQ thresholds, so qualifying participant and partially qualifying participant thresholds. If you meet the QP thresholds, these are higher in terms of Medicare payment counts or Medicare patients seen through the advanced APM. The PQ thresholds, which are slightly lower. If you meet QP, you are automatically exempt and you receive a 5% incentive payment. And if you receive the PQ thresholds, you are exempt, but the APM entity you are part of could elect to participate in MIPS through the MIPS APM option. Again, we cover this in more detail in other tutorial sessions, but just some things to keep in mind if you are participating in advanced APM. On this slide, we list some other resources that will be available and are already available on your PAI QPP website. These are geared to help answer frequently asked questions and common scenarios that you are facing and provide you with the details and information that you need to successfully participate in the program for 2017 and beyond. We'll now take a few questions that we on the ACI categories and clinical improvement activities categories. So the first question is, what if I don't have an EHR or an electronic health record? So the good thing is that you don't need an EHR for 2017. With the test reporting option, you can participate and avoid a negative payment adjustment just by submitting improvement activity or a quality category data. So with the quality category, just one patient for one measure at least. And for improvement activities, you just need to submit information that you are doing at least one improvement activity. The improvement activities can be done through attestation on the CMS website, so you don't need to register for any external resource to submit that data. And then for the quality category, you can submit the information for the patients using your claim. So these are both low-cost options. But in EHR is recommended, going forward, assess whether you can adopt one in the following participation years. Again, there is a possibility to apply for the hardship exemption. If you meet that, you may not need a EHR to participate in MIPS successfully because your score can be reweighted. Another option is you could do extremely well in the other three categories. And so even if your score is slightly lower in the ACI category, that might be outweighed by the other categories. So just a couple of things to take into consideration there.
The next question is whether or not it's true that if my EHR vendor said that I have to submit all of my MIPS data through its product and then pay additional fees to submit data for each MIPS category as well. The answer is no. First off, submitting via an EHR is certainly an option, as we mentioned, but there are other options, as we talked about earlier, which are listed back on slide number 14. So you have the opportunity to submit via an EHR, but there are also other ways to submit across each of the categories. So it is your choice. Whether or not you have to pay, that is dependent upon your EHR. And there are also free options you can choose from, for example, attestation. But one thing to keep in mind, which is listed on the pros and cons list of how you select which to choose from, is that although it is a free option, you do have to be sure that you keep your documentation on hand in case you were to ever need that. So please be sure to look at those pros and cons carefully.
Most of whether they
The next question is, what are either no or low cost ways to report data for each of the MIPS categories? And again, on slide number 14, we do list all of the different ways in which you can report, or mechanisms that are available to you, as well as the pros and cons. And there are some that could be either considered low or no cost, for example, attestation, as we've mentioned before, and potentially your EHR, if you've already purchased your EHR, and if it is capable of submitting on your behalf, but it does depend on the vendor. And many of you that have already participated in the Meaningful Use program and have made the investment in an EHR could consider this a low-cost way to report since you have already made that investment. But you should also look at the other ways to submit, for example, the CMS web interface, and consider that as an option if you are participating as a group of 25 or more physicians or eligible clinicians.
there's no definitely
And we are certainly aware that there are many additional questions related to the QPP and specifically the quality activities that you will be participating in. And we will continually update the FAQ section of the PAI website, so please continue to go back. Thank you for participating in today's session. Brought to you again on behalf of the Physicians Advocacy Institute and Healthsperian, and continue to go back to the Physicians Advocacy Institute QPP page for additional resources and to participate in additional educational sessions.